3 years free from kratom. Man, what a journey, what an experience. I've learned so much. I've grown so much. I've become so much stronger. I've become so much wiser. And I wanted to make this video reflecting on that, reflecting on the process as a whole. And it's been so cool, everybody. I'm here on my walk with Peanut, going back to our old school style of videos, walking with Peanut. No salad today, Peanut. So 3 years free from kratom. Wow, when I first set off on this journey, it would be almost 5 years ago now. I never expected everything that was to come. I knew that I wanted to quit 2 years before I actually quit. And I spent a year just kind of coming to terms with the fact that kratom wasn't working for me. And then I spent another year actually tapering down and beginning to go through the quitting process. And then I spent a good solid 2 years in the harder parts of recovery, going through a year and a half of pause and a year of rebuilding and reclaiming in my life what I had lost to my addiction. So it was a long process. And as I'm beginning this 3rd year, which I celebrated my kratom-free anniversary on February 18th, it's just been so cool. And I really hope to make these videos every year where I'm reflecting on different things that I've learned and gone through in each year of this process, to leave kind of as a roadmap for all of you that are still in addiction or who are getting through it, and to also have it be like, a journal entry of sorts, digital journal entry for me, so I can look back on these and see year to year how things have changed and evolved. And so yeah, it's pretty cool. So 3 years, man, this year has been, obviously a lot of it hasn't gone by yet, but this past year of my recovery especially has just been such a blessing. I really have seen the fruits of my labor, so to speak, after, like I was saying, that harder part of the recovery process that I went through. And I was able to get a job that I'm passionate about. I was able to rebuild relationships that had been affected by the addiction. I was able to rebuild my mind and my body after it had been greatly affected by the kratom. And I was able to ultimately become the person that I always dreamed of being, because kratom stole a part of my soul, it felt like, where I was in the addiction and it just became the central focus of my life. And it dictated my time. It dictated how I felt, so that I would have these little moments where I would feel okay after I would dose, and then the cycle would just begin again, where I would feel so horrible and start going through the withdrawals. And so the time that did feel okay was so fleeting. And so to be able to get that time back has been amazing. Like that's one of the things that I can express a lot about this past year, is like the freedom has been so beautiful. And no kratom high ever compares to this feeling of like freedom. Because like to be able to like not need it when I wake up in the morning or when I'm doing anything else, and to be able to like actually be completely present in what I'm doing and in the interactions that I'm having in relationships, in my creativity, so many different things, like to be free of the addiction and the enslavement to it has just been so beautiful. One of the other things that I've really loved about this past year is that I've been able to have this sense of peace that I haven't felt in so long. Like, I don't even know, like even before the kratom thing, like I was addicted to weed for 15 years, and you know, even with that, there was always this sense of like, I don't know, I guess the best way to describe it is like this like impending doom feeling where like I always felt like something terrible was gonna happen. I always felt like, you wanna go this way, Peanut? Okay. Here, you wanna be free? Let her off of her leash. Come here, Peanut. There you go, be free. I always had this feeling like, you know, and maybe it's the weed, maybe, you know, I drank a lot of coffee too, and I wasn't really taking care of myself and eating right, and I was under a ton of stress, and I'm sure all of that contributed to it, but there's been something about this past year where being free from the kratom, the weed, the coffee, I guess getting my diet in order, I guess getting, you know, my faith in order. I think that there's so many components to it, but like the peace is indescribable. Sure, stuff happens. Sure, things are not perfect in my life. Sure, there are, you know, challenges that come up, or, you know, little stresses and you know, challenges at work, or, you know, whatever it is, just life, you know, life happens. And that's one of the most beautiful things about sobriety and about like regaining and reclaiming our health after this addiction, is that like, you know, the things that would before cause so much pain and so much stress and discomfort, they become so much easier to navigate. And so that's been one of the things as well that this past year started to kind of kick in like the second year for me, but like really this year I've seen it so much. And I've had other people comment on it. I had somebody that I know say something to me, and I took it as the greatest compliment. He was like, you know, you're so chill, like you seem like, you know, if a nuclear bomb went off, that you would just be like, you know, you'd be so chill, like even regardless of if like everything is like, you know, burning down around you. And I was like, you know what, man, thank you for that compliment, because when I was in these addictions, like I was so wound up, and how I would relate to people was just totally different, where like, you know, people vibe, people feel what you know, what we're putting out there, and it may be unintentional that we're stressed out and that, you know, we're going through whatever feelings in our addiction or whatever in our life is challenging us. And people pick up on that. And so to have this person say to me, like, you just you're chill, like you have this calmness to you, and I enjoy being around you. It was such a compliment. And it's definitely one of the gifts of the sobriety from this addiction. And it's a gift of my faith and my relationship with God, because physically I feel so much better. Mentally I feel so much better, but it's also the peace that being rooted in my faith gives me. And even if people don't know about my faith, they can still sense that peace within me. And so it's really cool, and I'm thankful. Come on, Peanut, let's go to the beach. Come on, let's go to the beach. Come on. So that's one of the things that's been really cool too. One of the things that's been really cool, we just kind of touched on it a little bit, is that the relationships that I had that were so damaged by this addiction, I've been able to rebuild them. And we've touched on this in other videos, but I don't know what's up with kratom, man, but it has this really weird way of making us hyper focused on the perceived wrongs that other people have done to us. And this is kind of a cool mural. Maybe we can check this out real quick. I've never seen this one. It's kind of new. And so I would just hate on people. I would no matter what the circumstance was, no matter how much of it was, my fault, that, turkey tails. Pretty. No matter what the situation was, it could have been completely my fault. Gosh, these are so beautiful, right? So beautiful. It could have been completely my fault, the things that had gone on. And I wasn't able to see that. And so it really took a toll on my relationships. This is one of the things that I love about Chicago, is that there's so much art everywhere. And this is new. I'm not sure who did this, but it's pretty cool. This is cool right here. So that's been one of the really cool things about getting into this third year, that I don't know, I just see things differently. I look back on those situations where I was hyper focused on what people had done to me, or how they had hurt me or wronged me, or what I thought they had done wrong. And I'm able to see clearly now that sure, maybe somebody did something that hurt my feelings, but I also played a part in everything. And my perception of the situation is completely different now. And I think that that's what I'm taking the long way around in explaining, is that my perception has changed so much. And so these situations where I was always focused on the negatives and I was always focused on the wrongs that other people had done, I'm able to see the big picture now. And I'm able to see that there were different circumstances that were going on. There were different things that the other people were going through. And sure, maybe they didn't act the way that I wanted them to act. Maybe they hurt my feelings. Maybe they didn't do something that they said that they were going to do. But my perception was what would make it so terrible. And I would just hyper focus on the wrongs, or the thing that the other person did that I thought that they did. And I realized that it just like took up so much of my mental like space and my time and my energy to sit and focus on, you know, what other people had done to me. And there was this weird way that kratom, like, it would make me hyper fixate on this stuff, and I would just ruminate so hard and just spin my tires in the mud for literally years. It took me well into this second year, and now that I'm in the third year and I feel like I've been freed from it, but like even in my recovery, I would still just like think about the things that these people had done to me. And so that's been one of the blessings of this year, and I look forward as I get into the upcoming years, as I get into, you know, year 4, 5, 10, 20, whatever, like how my mind is going to change and how my perspective is going to change and how beautiful it's going to be. Peanut, come on, let's go. Peanut, where are you? Come on, let's go. Come on. So it's been super cool, man. And I make these videos, as you know, to like share my experiences and to like, you know, keep a journal of this stuff, a digital journal. But I also make them because it's my hope and my intention to encourage those of you that are in this addiction or that are getting out of it, and to, you know, let you know that there is hope with this. And I know that, you know, this is just my personal experience and that everybody's experience is different, but I share these reflections and I share the things that I've learned and the changes that I've gone through because, you know, I'm hoping that if you come across this, you'll be able to hear one person's experience that was in so deep. You guys, I was so enslaved to this addiction. Like, I couldn't do anything. I wasn't even leaving the house. I wasn't functioning. I was skin and bones. My hair, half my hair had fallen out. My life was literally a wreck. And so to be on the other side of it, like I share with you, because my situation is a good example of like, you know, how things can go really bad with this addiction, and then like how it can be turned around. And you know, this isn't an instantaneous process. Like, this is year 3 for me. Are things perfect? Like I said a moment ago, no, they're not. Like, I still have other work that I need to do that I'm, you know, in the process of doing now. And so it's going to be a continual process, a continual evolving, a continual reclaiming, a continual relearning. And so it's something that when I started out on this 2 years before I actually quit, like, I didn't know how long it was going to take. And now I'm 5 years from there, 3 years after my final quit, 2 years that I invested in the quitting process. And like, it's just, it's beyond also my wildest dreams. Like, it's been hard. It's been a lot of hard work, but like everything is totally worth it. So wherever you're at, like, be encouraged that like, no matter how hard it is, no matter how dark it is and how painful it is, that like, it's totally worth it to go through this and get out on the other side. And yeah, so those are my reflections at 3 years. Oh, a rose. At 3 years free from kratom. And I may have more, because this is just, you know, off the cuff as I normally do it. And I love you all. And wherever you're at, know that there's somebody out there that cares about you and that has been where you're at. Maybe not the same exact place, but I've been there. I've been in the darkness. I've been in the pain, I've been enslaved in this addiction, and be encouraged that there's hope to get out of it. And with that, I thank you for listening, and here's to 3 more years. Here's to 30 more years free from kratom. All right, guys, love you. See you next time. Bye.